Just picture the horror of seeing your life or life's work reduced to ashes in the aftermath of fire, perhaps through carelessness, faulty wiring, or simple neglect.
But the agony takes on a whole new dimension when the source of the flames is an act of revenge, hate, willful destruction.
Fire is a force that can quickly spread far beyond its initial target, making it one of the deadliest weapons. This is CS311. Up in flames or focus tonight.
Crime Stop Jamaica and National Bakery, in association with TVJ and our sponsors, ICD Group, Grace Kennedy, Home and Things, Progressive Grocers and Guardsman, present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
Millions of dollars go up in flames each year, damage to property, health, and life itself. But arson, the deliberate setting of fires with a criminal intent, is featuring more and more in Jamaican crimes.
And in February 2019 article, a newspaper reported on the alarming number of these fires that end in death, many of them the result of undetermined causes.
More and more, our firefighters are now forced to become criminal investigators. A member of the Jamaica Fire Brigade tells us more.
Arson is a factor that we certainly have to take a serious look at in Jamaica. One of the things about arson is that in many of the cases we find that lives are lost. So once one life is lost, it is a major factor for us. Starting these fires is really a mixture of, sometimes they have the Molotov cocktails, they will use simple gasoline and matches, or the fire bombs as we call them. And from our investigations, we find that these are accelerants that are used in most times in the arson cases that we come across. You find a few cases where it's domestic related, where domestic violence in the homes and persons in the heat of the moment, they will do something like that. However, on increasingly so, we're coming across more where it has some kind of violent intent, where criminality is involved, or you might find that demands are not being met in some cases, and as a result of that, they resort to that kind of a situation. We train our investigative officers locally and overseas. They will have to go through a number of hours of training internationally, and when they come back, they will join seasoned investigators who will then bring them through the ropes of making sure that what they learn in the classroom and in field settings, in controlled field settings, when they now come into the real world situation, they have that experience plus the classroom knowledge. Once you come across a situation where the intent is to cause mayhem, to cause harm, to cause loss of life, for me, I think the most stringent punishment should be taken against these individuals. For one, it should act as a deterrent, and a serious deterrent where persons should think twice whenever they are doing these things. I remember early 2000, or maybe late 90s, 99, 2000, somewhere there. There's an incident in St. Elizabeth where I responded to a house fire. It was Christmas morning. I'll never forget that. We got the call sometime after 3, 4 in the morning, and while we were going through and extinguishing the fire, I remember stepping into something and it felt outside of the norm. At that time, we used to wear thigh-high boots, which were very heavy, but at the same time, I picked up that this was not the norm. Something was out of the way. And when we had extinguished the fire and we were going through the cooling down operation, starting the investigation, I went back to the area where I stepped on something. And when I went back there, I realized the sun was now out. It was the belly of a 6-month-old child. These situations, they don't leave you. Even though that particular case did not turn out to be arson, but we've had arson situations where children have died, elderly and adults have died. So we really want to point out to individuals, this is horrible, extremely horrible, and these things, they don't leave the family members, they don't leave the persons who attend these situations, investigators, and these things really stick with people like myself who are integrally involved. that is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Clearly, the deliberate setting of fire is no novelty in Jamaica, even when no harm is intended. And many of us wouldn't think twice about starting a blaze in our own backyard.
But before you strike that match, inform yourself about the law. We tell you more on Did You Know?
How many times have you woken up to a room full of smoke, only to realize that your neighbors are burning the trash? Did you know that there is an act regulating the setting of fires, even if no crime is intended? The Country Fires Act of 1973 states that persons planning to burn trash should provide fair notice. Within 7 days of the intended burning, the officer or sub-officer in charge of the nearest police station should be informed, as well as occupants of lands within half a mile of the location. A 15-foot space should be cleared around the trash, removing all material that is likely to burn. Those who fail to do so could be charged with an offense. Burning trash between 6 in the evening and 6 in the morning, or leaving the fire unattended before it is extinguished, may also make you liable to be charged. Sadly, the law is often not reinforced, and the punishment is nowhere as deadly as the consequences of a raging fire. Those convicted could face a fine of up to 2,000 Jamaican dollars and imprisonment for up to 3 months. But that seems a very small price to pay for an act of carelessness that could endanger property, livelihood, or even life itself.
The emptiness left behind when a loved one disappears can only be filled by knowing the truth. The following people are missing, and that's why we need your help.
Missing, brought to you by Progressive Grocers. 70-year-old William English of Castleton, St. Mary has been missing since Wednesday, August 30, 2017. He is of brown complexion, slim build, and 168 centimeters or 5 feet 6 inches tall. Mr. English was last seen in Central Village, Spanish Town in St. Catherine, dressed in a blue plaid shirt, black pants, black shoes, and a tam. 21-year-old Christopher Henry of Quarry Hill, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been missing since Thursday, April 6, 2017. He is of dark complexion and medium build. Christopher Henry was last seen at home dressed in lime green jeans and an orange t-shirt. 29-year-old Dino Skeen of Bernard Lodge District, St. Catherine, has been missing since Sunday, May 21, 2017. He's of dark complexion, medium build, and 165 centimeters or 5 feet 5 inches tall. Dino Skeen was last seen at about 2:30 p.m. on a farm in his community, wearing a yellow and black merino, green jeans, and a pair of black water boots. Janice Palmer, a U.S. citizen of Argyle Road, Kingston 5, has been missing since Thursday, November 16, 2017. It is believed that she left home to conduct business with persons unknown and has not been seen or heard from since.
Halford Anderson had high expectations on returning from England to settle in his hometown of Mount Pleasant, Portland, with his wife of more than 50 years.
Finally, a chance to build their dream home and enjoy a peaceful retirement. But months later, the neighbors encountered a gruesome scene outside the Anderson home. We take you back to that day.
The rural community of Mount Pleasant in Portland, sometime after 6 p.m. on Thursday, June 21, 2019, was the scene of a most gruesome double murder. That of 74-year-old Halford Charlie Anderson, a returning resident, and his 71-year-old wife, Florence Gale Anderson, both of whom were retired British nationals. They, like many returning residents, were in the process of building their dream home, but the opportunity to complete the task was snatched away in the most brutal fashion. The assailants, or murderers, apparently found it difficult to gain access to the home, and so tore out windows, tried to pry open grills and kick in doors. In an effort to drive the occupants out, they started fires through the open windows. At some point, these evil persons, yet unknown, gained access, and they stabbed, shot and burnt both Charlie and Gail, who ran for their lives. Not content, they proceeded to start multiple fires in the home, possibly in an attempt to cover their tracks. The charred body of Halford Charlie Anderson was discovered at about 1:30 p.m. on Friday, June 22nd by a neighbor some distance from the home. The police were called and the area cordoned. Subsequent investigation of the premises discovered the body of Florence Gail Anderson lying on her back. A most gruesome sight. The couple had been defrauded of large sums of money, which had previously been reported to the police. Could this have been the reason for what is a most heinous crime?
The story repeats itself too often. Two retirees who are returning residents, an attractive and vulnerable target. This time, will justice finally win out?
Crime Stop is offering a reward totaling $200,000 for information leading to the arrest and charge of the murderers behind the brutal killing of Halford and Florence Anderson. All it takes is just one call. Call 311 if you have any information. And while you're at it, watch this scam.
Nice, sir.
Yeah, watch Crime Stop.
Every day is another story like this.
How I know, darling?
Now the woman, yeah, man. She said them come in on her Friday night, rob her.
Chano.
And then them burn them out of them house.
Chano star, them Arsenal.
You know that then do?
Chano star.
7 children. But them are homeless people, them you know, you know.
Oh gosh, man.
Every day you see another story like this. If another kill them too, thank God so them never do them nothing.
Why, Empress?
But where them are going to stay, them not have nowhere to stay. Them need help.
I agree with you, you know, Empress. What I think we should do, we could do a little thing for them still, you know. You see, like how last week, I kind of make that little big thing there and I get that little food there.
That not bad.
Yeah, man, I think we should have tried help out. Because I remember the time when we did need the little help still, you know. And your father did come through for we.
Yeah, but them not have no information here, so if it says state where we can make a lodge.
No number, nothing.
No, them not have no number at all.
What I say?
Yes! Coming! Good evening.
Hey, good evening, ma'am. My name is Pastor and I represent the burnt victims of Jamaica.
Oh, really?
Yes, especially 7 that was burnt out just the other day.
Yes, me hear about that.
Oh, you heard about it?
And to tell you, you know, I pack aside some things though that I have in the barrel that I can give them, like clothes and shoes and so on. If they need food, I have that as well.
Oh.
So I can contribute that.
Wonderful, wonderful. We will take the food but keep the clothes. New things the people them want. New things.
New things.
Yeah, especially money.
Money?
Yes, because you see, these people want to rebuild their house. Children need to go to school, so they want uniform.
Aye. Stop. What you try do?
Huh?
I never hear nobody walk around and collect money for contribution for people like that. Which I've never heard about anybody coming here and taking live cash from people as contribution. Somebody else burned down, normally them ask for clothes and food. So I'll find them and I'll make my contribution directly, okay? Me don't know you come here with the Hawaiian crush up shirt and come and use the head for me.
You mean you're not going to give me money?
No, not you.
You see how some people wicked, using someone else's tragedy to make a profit. Now, I am not saying that you should not give contribution where contribution is deserved, but you have to be smart. If you want to give, ask for a bank account that you can take the money and lodge there yourself. Don't give cash because you don't know what they're going to do with it. Ask for an ID so that you can make certain that they are who they say they are. Be smart. Use your head. Don't be scammed.
When dangerous criminals are at large, none of us are safe. The following men are wanted by the police, but we need your help.
"31-year-old Sean Piggy McPherson of Red District, Porus, Manchester, is wanted in connection to the murder of his 8-month-old son and the wounding of his baby mother both of which took place on Thursday, May 30, 2019 at McKinley Drive, Mandeville, Manchester. Sean Piggy McPherson has dark brown eyes, a broad nose and bushy eyebrows. He's about 5 feet 8 inches tall and of dark complexion. Ramon D. Forbes, otherwise called Dean Foster or Weedy, is 30+ years old and unemployed, of Claymont Road, 9 miles, Bull Bay, St. Andrew. He is wanted for questioning in connection to the murder of 19-year-old Ashley Lyons, also of Claymont Road, Bull Bay. The murder was committed on Sunday, October 10, 2015, in their very own community. Akeem Johnson, otherwise called Bobo Sparks, of New Nursery, Spanish Town, is wanted for questioning in connection to the murder of Donovan Laws, otherwise called Night Dew, at the New Nursery community, Twickenham Park, St. Catherine, on Monday, December 12, 2016. He's of black complexion, but known to bleach. He's 5 feet 4 inches tall, of slim build, and with a big nose. He has ganja leaves and the number 666 tattooed on his hand. Akeem Bobo Sparks Johnson is considered armed and dangerous.
Many a victim has found themselves caught between the fire and the flames, so to speak. Trapped inside by fire, set by criminals waiting outside with their guns pointed at their doors.
Fire has become a weapon of choice for retaliation, domestic violence, insurance fraud, vandalism, extortion, and outright murder.
This fire occurred in Mount Salem, Portland, and because of the remote area where the fire took place, the fire was not reported to the fire department. But after about 3 days, we got contact from the Jamaica Constabulary Force to assist in determining the cause of the fire. Our normal methodology of investigating fires is that once we arrive on the location, we would actually do an assessment as to the external boundaries to determine the extent of the fire. On this occasion, we realized that a number of the structural elements was seen around the building, like for instance the windows. Let me just scroll up on this one here. The windows to the premises was actually seen on the ground. We also observed persons, the occupants, were seen in 2 different locations on the outside. We also observed that the doors and the grills had indication where forced entry was seen. Further investigation revealed that a number of different seats of the fire was actually seen. That led us to further explore the area. Our exploration convinced us that the materials that were ignited were not normally ignited from matches, but however, we realized that some sort of accelerant was actually used to increase the rate at which that fire spread through the building. We, the fire department, however, we investigate fires to actually determine the cause, whether the fire was caused by a defect, an act, or omission. Whether or not an appliance, a fan that was left turned on over a period of time. We also look at omission, which is leaving the fire unattended and iron on a board. And in terms of the act, which would actually lead us to the arson. This fire had all the indications that it was actually set by someone.
When a fire takes on a life of its own, it destroys everything in its path. Safety tips are up next.
Safety Tips, sponsored by Guardsman.
Our home is our kingdom and our sanctuary. We should feel safe there. One of the greatest threats to our home is fire, and we must take responsibility as to A, how we handle a fire and what we do to prevent a fire. We must ensure that we never leave food on the stove unattended, particularly when you are frying or using fryers, because hot oil very quickly escalates into an uncontrollable fire. And adding water to hot oil only escalates the problem. So never ever leave food unattended on the stoves. We also need to be mindful of the electrical circuitry in our house. Far too often we use extension cords, we eliminate plugs and just plug wires into sockets and so on. We need to ensure that the wiring that we have in our house is intact, it's insulated, no breakages, and we are using it in accordance with the amperage that it is designed for. In the house, you should always have an escape plan. You should be able to get out of your house within 2 minutes of the start of a fire. Plan that route, rehearse it, go through it, memorize it, and get the rest of your household to practice it with you. Having a fire extinguisher in the home, more than one or two, certainly one in the kitchen I recommend, is very important. When a fire is detected in the home, what we must do first and foremost is raise the alarm. Shout, scream, whatever it is you do, you must raise the alarm in the household, alerting anyone else in the house to get out. You make your way out as quickly as possible. Once you are out, never go back. It's instinctive for you want to go back for things, you want to go back to help people. You are probably only going to jeopardize your life as well. If we are in the house and you have to get through smoke to exit, get low. Teach the family to get low. Crawl under the smoke level to exit the house. If smoke, heat, or flames are in your path for the way out, turn back. Close the door between you and that circumstance. Keep that door closed. If you can, get a wet towel, wet cloth, put it down under the door so that the smoke and the heat doesn't come through that quickly. The door will become a fire barrier. Continue to raise the alarm. Wave through the windows, wave colored flags or cloth through the window to try and get attention. And of course, alert the authorities. Teach your children that they never experiment with fire. They don't play with matches, they don't play with candles, they don't play with lighters. Teach your children the stop, drop and roll, because it's not just in the household that is going to be important to them. Teach them also that if there is a fire, never hide under the bed, never hide in a closet. Stay where they feel safe, away from the smoke, the heat and the flames, but where they can be seen when rescue comes for them.
We tremble at the mere thought of a gun or even a knife, but think little of the dangers of a match, a lighter, a kerosene lamp, or a simple candle. Yet, one spark is all it takes to unleash absolute destruction beyond the impact of any bullet.
Educate your family and yourself on fire safety and equip your property with fire safety equipment. Your life and your future could depend on it. I am Deidre Dixon.
And I'm Leroy Hall. Join us again next week.